Hey guys, and today I'm going to be talking about the Wolves vs Spurs game, which was kind of a game with two halves. The first half was quite interesting actually. So Spurs came out really quickly and looked to attack and got up and from a corner and Dombele scored a little bit of a goal, which Patricio could have saved because it was just a knuckleball and was almost straight at him. He got confused, he thought it would take a deflection, but it didn't, and the goal just went right past him and Tottenham got an early lead within the first minute of the game. From there, they started. Tottenham had a pretty different shape. Instead of playing the usual four with the back, they'd often push Reguilon up and drop Doherty into a back four with two midfielders covering. You could see at times that Reguilon even gone to the opposition box and was here and playing almost as a winger. So it was interesting shape. It almost shifted to sort of this shape at times. It was really interesting to see this because I didn't see like something like that from Regulon. Is really interesting. It's unique. It's not something that you would normally see. So of course Mourinho's game plan was to push Regulon up. You didn't see as much of Doherty going up, even though he did get up. But he did want to play three at the back as well to limit players like Neto and Choroye taking advantage of these half spaces. Of course, after that, the game started to die off. Like they didn't create too many chances, but this was because of the defensive shape that the players would take in. For example, for both Spurs and Wolves, they would get everyone behind the ball and would often like not even press the ball, but just contain. And they would do this for large periods of the game, which caused the other team to just play the ball out really slowly. For example, let's take a look. So Semedo would get out wide. I'm talking about the first half. So like Silva's here, Potence is here. You have Neto just roaming in this area. Yeah, Saiss getting up, Cody getting up, Matinho and Neves struggling to find space, as well as Troy here. So of course, what Tottenham will do is they'll just contain. They'll just chill over here. They'll just chill around here. They'll plug up all the gaps. They'll push the fullbacks up. Like in this sort of a space, they're containing so that it's really hard to work out of. There isn't a press, but there isn't much space to go because if Cody's played here, all they have to do is shift a little bit and have like they have Hoybier to watch the space. They have Ndombele. They can mark really pretty much everything without being worked out of. And when they won the ball, they'd attack, but they don't have enough attackers to pour forward, especially with Spurs not looking too much for that goal. That once they got the ball back, Spurs would shift it. With that, once Spurs got the ball back, then the Wolves would shift back into that same sort of a shape. The shape for Wolves was definitely a little bit different because they did play a back four. They played pretty narrow in general, with Podence playing like here, having Neves and Matinho pretty here. They'd have Neto and Traore drop back. Overall, they played narrow, but Spurs didn't get too much width. It was only through Regulon, and when they did, they just make a tactical shift. Overall, both sides weren't phased by side passing, and they weren't really able to open up each other, which caused a really boring game, especially in the first half. But coming into the second half, the game drastically changed. Making some tactical adjustments, Wolves manager completely decided to change the game. He instructed Marcel to get up. He instructed Semedo to get up. He instructed Martinho and Neves to be a little bit more adventurous. He instructed Neto to make more darting runs. He got Traore more involved in the game. And you got Podence involved as well. So the game plan completely changed. While Spurs had a goal lead and were just looking to maintain that lead, they got almost none of the ball in the second half, except for the very end. Wolves continued their pattern of pressing. They'd not pressing, but they'd attack the ball and they'd keep the ball for long periods of the game. Because when most of the time Silva and Troy would chill in the box, and that players like Podence, Neto, Neves, Matinho, and Semedo and Marcel trying to create opportunities. And when you have these players, you are vulnerable defensively. But because of the fact that Spurs were just containing and they Wolves looked really adventurous, especially Semedo and Neto. In fact, with Neto switching flanks at some points of the game, you'd see like adventurous runs. Like you'd see a play to Neves, you'd see a little shift, Neto making an adventurous run, Silva drifting out, Traore coming in, Semedo coming up, Semedo getting crosses in, Traore getting crosses in. The game was changing. The game was really fun actually because you saw nothing from Tottenham, but everything from Wolves. Wolves were glorious. They should have had many goals, created many opportunities. Neto as well, when he was on this side, he did something brilliant. Starting with the run from here, he goes past about 5 players and he stays here. He cuts back inside, gets it in, and completely sprints and finds Silva in between a bunch of bodies, who unfortunately takes a heavy touch and hits Lloris in the face. So of course, Neto was absolutely brilliant to me. He's so adventurous. He's lovely. He's just such a good player, and there's Wolves are so lucky that they have players like Neto and Podence on their side. Of course, they kept this pressure going. They played with Moutinho, they played with Neves. They were able to find spaces, and they were able to do so really well. Many goals came when Neto was drifting and drawing. These players are drawing each other out, and Cody fakes to switch the field out to Markel, but finds Neto in this sort of a half space, who has enough time to take 2 or 3 touches and get a shot off, which is unfortunately deflected and goes out for a corner. From that corner, though, Neto takes. You have Sice coming here. I'll just give a rough example. Let's pretend like the Tottenham defense is all just chilling here. And, of course, Sice makes a darting run into the penalty area from the edge of the box, and Neto plays it in, and he flicks it off with the back of his head into the far post. Brilliant goal. Much deserved goal by Wolves in the 86th minute, and they go celebrating like crazy. Spurs relentlessly try to fight back with 6 minutes of stoppage time, but at that point, Son had been taken out of the game. And Wolves saw it through and went with the 1-1 draw. For sure, Wolves had opportunities and were by far the better side in my opinion, and could have gotten that extra goal. But this draw will hurt for Spurs. They've gone from first to fifth in a matter of 3 weeks, and if they had lost that game, like in my opinion, they could have deserved to lose that game, then it could be looking a lot worse. But anyway, this game means a lot to the Premier League. It means a lot for teams like Man United, Everton, Aston Villa, and just a lot of other teams that are in the contending or just title race at the moment, especially with Liverpool having drop points against West Brom. Huge game, huge result. Let's see what happens to the Prem now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you all. If you tuned into the stream, let me know, and I really appreciate you guys. Have a great one.